Hey everybody, it's Xiao. I want to talk about Max and Chloe. I originally intended to make this video before I played episode 3, but that didn't work out too well. Even after playing episode 3 though, I think this theory can still make sense. Alright, so I think it's possible that Max and Chloe could already be dead, and Max is just living some kind of recurring dream in which she's trying to save everyone she cares for with her powers, like some kind of purgatory. Either that, or the entirety of the game is happening at the brink of death. Like those last few moments where your life flashes before your eyes and you look upon your mistakes and consider all the things you could have done better. And thus we have the rewind ability. I said in a previous video that I don't think Chloe's spirit animal is the butterfly. Let me elaborate on this first. If Chloe's already dead, then I think that the butterfly is actually a manifestation of her spirit. In many cultures and folklores, butterflies represent a person's soul and are symbols of transformation and consequence. We already know that the major gameplay mechanic in Life is Strange has to do with the butterfly effect. The player is prompted to make choices that will drastically alter the events of the game in the future. The first appearance of this butterfly happens in the girls' bathroom, right before Max witnesses Chloe getting shot. Could it be possible that this blue butterfly is Chloe's spirit trying to tell Max to let her die? Perhaps, through her death, Chloe has transformed and has become less selfish and is trying to warn Max of the consequences of trying to save her. The major consequence being, amongst many, the impending destruction of Arcadia Bay via tornado. There's imagery of death all over Chloe. In episode 1, she wears a tank top depicting a skull with what looks like to be a crown. There's probably a bunch of meaning there that I'm not gonna get into. In episode 2, she's wearing a shirt with a bull skull on it. Bulls are stubborn, strong-willed creatures with an uncompromising nature and a tendency to rush into things. Perhaps it's these character traits that Chloe possesses that got her killed in the first place. If you take a look at the tattoos on Chloe's right arm, you can see that there's a skull in the center with blue butterflies flying away, as if the spirit is leaving the body. This tattoo, which is a symbol of how this blue-haired punk rock version of Chloe is radically different from the Chloe Max knew as a child, could be Max's subconscious trying to communicate that Chloe's already dead while Max is having her denial-filled dream. In a previous video I talked about how I think Chloe's spirit animal is actually the western scrub jay. One of them flies into the closed window of Chloe's parents' room and dies, and we, the player, are offered a chance to save it by turning back time. The choice here runs parallel to a recurring theme in the game, saving Chloe. This sequence kinda tells me that Max might be trying to save more than just Chloe's life. I talked before about how scrub jays have unusual family units and that Chloe's family is quite unusual. The way this bird flies into the closed window of her mom and stepdad's room could be a metaphor for how isolated from the two of them Chloe feels. The glass window is a barrier that prevents Chloe from being close to the two of them. However, not being close to them is actually Chloe's own fault. She chooses not to accept David. She blames her mom for marrying him. As such, the scrub jay itself flies into the window and kills itself. This could be seen as a metaphor for how Chloe's actually ruining her own life because of the way she perceives the world. Max opening the window could be symbolic of Max trying to open Chloe's heart and help this family come together. Why all this effort for Chloe in the first place? Perhaps it's all just Max's guilt from abandoning her best friend. Also, consider the title of episode 1. Chrysalis. While this could be referring to the personality transformation that Max undergoes throughout the game under the player's guidance, especially since she's transitioning into adulthood, Chrysalis could also be referring to the transition of a person in the physical plane to the spiritual plane. This is why I think Max could be dead or dying, and that the events of this game is how her spirit is coming to terms with that fact. This game is her cocoon, and she'll burst out of it when she finally comes to terms with death. And she'll come to terms with it when she can finally feel at peace about leaving the ones she loved behind, or letting them go. Alright, so it's pretty obvious that the deer is Max's spirit animal. The deer is thought to be gentle, compassionate, and empathetic. They do what they can to help those around them. There's even some legends that speak of deer sacrificing their own bodies in order to feed people. That's totally Max, it's all very fitting. One thing that's special about Max's spirit animal is that it seems to appear in front of her on purpose. Max has visions of the deer, she sees it transparent, so could this be another subconscious message about the state of Max's life? The transparency of the tear could mean that Max is just seeing things, or it could mean that Max doesn't belong in the Arcadia Bay she currently is in. Perhaps she actually belongs in a different timeline, or perhaps she doesn't belong in this Arcadia Bay at all. Perhaps it's a dream. Also, check out Max's shirt in episode 1. It says Jane, with a picture of a doe right next to it. Jane Doe is a name police give to unidentified female bodies. Just saying. There are two strange things that I've noticed that could support this theory that Max is dead and that all of this is happening in her head, or some kind of spirit world. First off is the graffiti that's strewn about the world so far. Many of them look like they're directed to Max, possibly from Chloe. I mean, check them out. None of the characters seem to notice how weird they are. The second is the fact that no one has questioned how on earth Max got up on the roof to try to talk to Kate out of jumping. She was sitting in Mr. Jefferson's class when the news got out. Victoria, Nathan, and a bunch of other students were at the scene before Max showed up. David was following Kate with his camera, and he was the closest person to the girls' dorm entrance. So why is it that none of them questioned how Max was able to get up on the roof first? Principal Wells asked why Max was on the roof with Kate, but he was more concerned about Kate. No one asked how Max got up there so fast. Even Warren, as inquisitive as he is, didn't ask Max how she got up there. Everyone has seemed to blindly accept this, and it makes me wonder, could this issue not being addressed be due to this game being a skewed perception of reality? Max's reality. If everything is in her head, then there would be no need to address how she got up there so fast. So here's what might be happening. For some reason, Max has died or is dying, and is reliving moments in her mind that are of importance to her. Thus we get her rewind time ability. She wants to undo all the mistakes she thinks she's made. Perhaps one of those mistakes is allowing herself and Chloe to drift apart. Chloe's drastic change over the years that Max was away could be representative of that. It makes sense that Max would be scared that her childhood friend has changed so much that she wasn't the same person anymore. Perhaps the mistake is as simple as letting Chloe get shot in the girls' bathroom. I think Max might be dreaming up the tornado as an excuse to save all the people she's cared about. It's almost self-serving. The tornado is a metaphor, however. It's a message that by trying to change the course of time and challenge fate, you will be creating a more serious disaster for other people. The blue butterfly, Chloe, is trying to warn Max of this, to let her know that she should let things run their course. It's trying to tell Max that, like her name, saving Chloe will come at a very high price. Just some thoughts.